Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is the Wärtsilä Energy Transition Lab coming at you for the fourth week now. I'm here again with Matti Rautkivi. Matti, how are things on your end?
Hi Björn, good. How about yourself?
All good. Let's get straight into the data here. What's happened in the last week or since we last heard, Matti?
Well, I would say that actually it's I almost say that it's getting boring because it's getting so standard. But I think I find pretty interesting now that when we look once again the last week here. But if you look a little bit at what has actually happened in Europe, and now the last week people talk about the change in load, 10% down still. But if you look the actual number, 56 terawatt hours there over the week, that has been the electricity consumption. And if we go back then one more week, that the previous week, it was more or less the same, 56.6, and then one more week in April, so April 12th until April 19, 56.3, and then the first week of the second week of April, 56.8, and I think it was in the beginning of April when it was up, 63 terawatt hours. So for some reason, this is kind of or not even some reason, but this is kind of now that we have reached some stable form of load that is there, staying there in the 56 to 57 terawatt hours per week from week after week. It's down still that kind of 9%, 10% that we have seen over the previous weeks, but this kind of stable load levels across the Europe now.
Right. So a stable load around 56 terawatt hours. But when I see you changing this, I also see that the relative amount to last year actually changes. So there was more variation last year as well as being, of course, a lot higher load. That's an interesting one. Maybe we'll come back to that. No doubt, we've seen a lot of interest in and a lot of discussion around the analysis here in various articles and in various social media. So really appreciate the interest and please keep engaging. One thing that's come up in a lot of articles that we see is the role of coal, Matti,
Yep.
The famous saying that you shouldn't bring coal to Newcastle. I think that saying probably has even more relevance today than before. Can you open up that a little bit?
Yeah, that's what's interesting when I was looking the data from different countries that what has happened, and I click UK was it last week, and saw that there is no coal generation, that is like minus 100%, and I thought that there's something wrong with the data, that it just looks weird. And then of course UK has been burning coal forever. But when I check the data then and drill through, check the details here, and look the UK data, that what has actually happened there, and it looked from 10th of April until this day, so almost a month, that there wasn't any coal generation. And then I took it a little bit further there, and saw that still in early April there was some coal generation there, but really minimum one. But now, interesting fact, Björn, is that since 10th of April, UK hasn't used a single megawatt hour of coal or single ton of coal to produce electricity in UK. So this is almost a month, and I bet that now over next week that this will be the full month. So that's my bet. But the interesting fact, Björn, here is that this is the longest period since Industrial Revolution, since 1888, that UK has been without coal generation in their country. So my question is that will coal actually ever come back? Will that happen, or will the UK just say that, okay, that hey, our system survives without coal, we don't really need that, and there's enough gas capacity that can handle, they are efficient, they are kind of flexibly operating the system. So is there a really need for that? So interesting to see that kind of public discussion at some point.
Wow. And just to check here, I mean, this is eye-popping stuff, I think, from a UK. But if we look at the remaining thermal capacity and we look at the capacity factors, is it possible here? Can we from this tool can we then give or can people find how much load would have to increase for coal actually to be needed again, and where do we foresee that ever happening, like you said?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. You need to check the data a little bit because that what has been the peak demand, and actually we can look it for the UK. But here you have to install capacity here. So in UK they have actually 8 gigawatts of coal generation that has been is there, but the gas is like 36 gigawatts. So there's a way more gas capacity than coal, wind, solar. But you can actually do that. Let's look at that if they have the, let's say, the stable capacity 36 gigawatts plus nuclear, so it's 45, and now we can roughly see at least here that what has been the maximum load, 45 there. So yeah, it's definitely doable without the coal generation. So I don't think that it's a capacity issue in general. It has been just the economics that you run coal for because it's economical. But now with this kind of new normal situation due to COVID, it's not the economical option anymore. So
wow.
once again, it's money that is pushing this out, and money in this kind of environment where you need to go up and down and do all the swings with your assets. It's just that's the reason here.
Wow, another impact of flexibility requirement in the system.
Yeah.
Looking then, Matti, at the renewable side of things, what went down here in the last week?
Well, we have been talking about Germany quite a lot, but actually it was pretty stable week on Germany, or it was 65% renewables. So, but as we have seen now, way higher. We're getting used to this new normal. But it was actually interesting week in Spain. Spain, that sunny and windy system, and of course in Spain also it has been impacted pretty heavily by the COVID-19. But on April 30th, it hit 74% renewables in Iberia and in Spain, and it was like 24% up compared to last year. So you can see it was actually a windy day, not so sunny day, but really windy day. What happened there? And funny thing that when we have been talking about Germany now, that how they push their excess renewables to neighboring countries and how the prices go negative or really low, exactly the same happens here in Spain. So while there's a lot of wind, we see that they are pushing that kind of 5 to 6 gigawatts of capacity out, and the prices go really low. And at the same time, you have once again you have that nuclear plants running there and some run-of-river hydro. So once again, this just tells that now the current systems are coping with high renewables. They can handle 75-80% renewables, but when it comes to this situation, the lack of flexibility, or you need to use the transmission and the other capacity to handle that. And of course, this kind of a price swings and the volatility is a sign for that there would be more value for more flexible assets. So good thing to show that it's also in Spain, and as we have been talking about Norway, UK, Germany, it's across the Europe. This what is now with the new normal.
Really interesting to see also when you mentioned that this is a market that has less interconnectivity than for example Germany, but the effect is as marked there as in other places. Mm-hmm. Fantastic stuff. I mean, no coal in the UK. Will it ever come back? All countries across the continent here being clearly showing the need and the business case for flexibility. Let's keep this discussion going. We'll be back soon with more insights. In the meantime, please engage and please reach out. And very interested to hear what people think about the 56 terawatt hour load and where we end up with that. Thanks everybody, and speak to you soon.
Thank you.